Good day, Tamers. Welcome back to some more terrible deck choices by me, Geo Swiftly. Again, we're going to carry on with doing the whole off-meta picks, because sometimes we just want some more fun. These can be kind of interesting into Ultimate Cut format, as they're normally one-colour decks, or they all specifically share one colour, which would be, in this case, red. So, Bird Up. Whoop. Yokomon's probably one of the cooler babies we've had for a long time now, and I do think that it's going to be hard to replace this baby, because it's just very good, because the whole deck is essentially if I fall over, I get all these things kind of deck. So, Yokomon from BT13, on deletion, if you have a red tamer in play, draw a card. You will 9 out of 10 have a red tamer in play. Don't have to have the 5th egg if you want to. Peanut on deletion, delete one of your opponent's 2000 DP or less Digimon. Again, you're probably just going to run the 4, but it's here if you really wanted to. Beamon from BT13, on play, if all the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 red Digimon card with Vaccine in its traits, and 1 red tamer card amongst them to your hand. Place the rest of the bottom of your deck in any order. Searcher, very good. We all like searchers that get us 2 things. Beamon from BT13, on play, if played by an effect by returning 1 Christy Damon to the owner's hand, this Digimon may digivolve into a Garudamon in your hand, ignoring the deletion requirements and without paying the cost. Fairly good card if you ask me. And then on deletion, draw 1. Again, the whole thing about this deck is just drawing cards because you went boom. And then the final Beamon here is more the attacking one. When attacking once per turn, when this Digimon attacks a player, draw 1 card. If you intend to attack the player by that security, even if your opponent then decides to block it or divert it in some direction, because you've chose to attack the player, you'll still get the draw. Birdramon with blocker, and then on deletion, you may play 1 red tamer card with a play cost of 4 or less from your hand, but paying the cost. Currently, there is no good archetypal tamer that's cost 4. Presumably, the Sora from BT15 will be the first one, where it's probably like a searcher with, or maybe like a memory setter, and then like do something because of the bird. I'm expecting it to be a 4 cost, but we shall see. But yes, I am essentially waiting for this to be the card that goes, hey, look, bird stuff. Aquila from BT13. On play, when digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less, and then on deletion, draw. Again, this is just more the whole, because you generally expect your stack to explode, or you gain effects that says on deletion stuff, gain an effect. It's kind of here for that. Birdramon's just here because there's not really any other good level 4 birds, as weird as that sounds. They all kind of do like aggressive things rather than like the defensive like style of like, oh, I get deleted, draw like 6 cards. Birdramon, when attacking, when this Digimon attacks a player, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. Essentially, it's a rookie murderer on an inherited effect, which is not so bad. It'd be kind of cool if, I know this is a very old card, it'd be very cool if it says when suspended. So for the blocker one, suspend, pop a thing. Garudamon from BT11, blocker, and then on deletion, you may play 1 red tamer card, play cost of 4 or less from your hand without paying the cost. Again, expecting the Zora from BT15 to be good, or at least decent enough to be played in a deck like this, which actually might give the deck its push, as well as getting the new cards from that set to put into the deck to make the deck better. But because of the effect of this birdie over here, be able to go into a blocker, or go into this one here, that you play a free cost card from your hand on evolving is also very, very good. Which we'll go into now. Garudamon from BT13, on play, when digivolving, you may play a 1 red tamer card from your hand with a play cost of 3 or less from your hand without paying the memory cost. On deletion, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6000 DP or less. Very good. The idea for this obviously is either popping the on deletion effect of certain cards, or if it does get exploded, get rid of a blocker so certain cards can swing through. Depending or. Phoenixmon ×4, I do like this one a lot compared to the other one because it has good effects. Your turn was returned. When a card is removed from your opponent's security stack, you may activate one of the Digimon's delusion effects. Again, popping things like essentially a blocker, or getting to play a tamer for free is really good. You may play on deletion. You may play 1 red Digimon card with Avian, Bird, Beast, Animal, or Sovereign, other than Sea Animal, in one of the traits, and 3000 DP or less from your hand without paying the cost. Now, the idea of this was essentially, it's a phoenix, you're getting to rebirth yourself. You're going back into probably the Beamon over here that says you can play by effect, go into a Garudamon for 0 cost. It's very effective at getting yourself back around into circles. The only thing you don't have is essentially just take this back out the trash. For each red tamer you have in play, add 2000 DP to maximum DP of the card you can play with this effect. So the idea of this is if you've got like literally like a back row of like 4 tamers, that's 11k, so essentially you can throw down for 11k. Hey, look, another Phoenix Mon. Or just throw this one down again. It's so good, the fact that you just get to play these out, essentially, just having like a backboard of Tamers, which essentially you will do. The Promo Phoenix Mon from back in the day from, was it BT7 for us? God damn, that was a terrible set for us. Just because it like removed all the rares and it made the set very janky. When Digivolving, if you have a Tamer in play, this Digimon gets Security Attack +1 for the turn. Fairly good. If you are free memory, you can go into this. It's always good to go. And then your turn once per turn, when this Digimon is blocked, trash the top card of your opponent's Security Stack. Well, what did we see earlier? Your turn once per turn, when a card is removed from your opponent's Security Stack, you may activate one of this Digimon's on-deletion effects. So just having the ability to like pop a security and then go, go crazy mode. Such a good card. We are running 2 Omnimons because you don't need to be a Greymon or a Garurumon. You can be any red or blue card. Essentially, you're just going to be doing this to probably finish games off, which makes sense. The reason I did include this one is obviously the Security Attack +1. There is another Security Attack +1, which is also when it attacks into opponents, you gain 2 draws. Down to you which you prefer. I think this one's just cool for the your turn thing, pop a security, because blockers might be the case going forwards. And I just found that to be more useful because trashing cards is always good. But if you want a Security Attack +1 all the time and draw 2, then use the other one. Omnimon effect again, just blitzing, Digivolve, and suspend blitz. All turns when this Digimon would be deleted or returned to the hand or deck. By your opponent's effect, you may trash level 6, well, you're going to have level 6 anyway. And then we're going to have 2 Crimson Flares. This is just essentially so you can do the deletion effect of one of your red Digimon's vaccine traits. Obviously, depending on what you want, you get more Tamers out, delete something, draw a card, deletion effect, play another Digimon. Especially if you've got like a back row of cards. This can be a very good card, just basically go a little bit wider. Memory Boost, this will be changed out for the In Training. I think we've all agreed now the In Training is a much better card. Putting 3 cards to the bottom is not necessarily the greatest thing in the world. But, getting 2 memory is also pretty good. But when memory blockers become a big thing, part of a meta that we have, they do fall off fairly quickly. Akio, on play, reveal the top 4 cards to your deck. Add 1 red Digimon card with Vaccine in its traits amongst them to your hand. Place the rest of the bottom of the deck in any order. Your turn, when you play a red Digimon with Avian, Bird, Beast, Animal, or Sovereign, other than Sea Animal, in one of its traits, by an effect. By suspending this Tamer, that Digimon gains Rush for the turn. Again, because you will be playing things here, especially if you do have extra Tamers out, gaining Rush on the big things is always very good. And then we have Christy Demon. So of your main phase, if you've got a Digimon with Avian or Bird in one of its traits, in play, gain a memory. This is how we're going to be gaining memory. On play, one of your Digimon gains on deletion. You may play 1 BMon from your hand or trash without paying its memory cost till the end of your opponent's turn. I like the idea that essentially you're always going to keep trying to get this one back out, and then if this is out, you gain Rush. It's going to be very good just to be able to rush and burn down your target, especially because it gets to warp into Ruler for free, because it's the effect of its effect, and then you get to go into one of these very efficiently. It's always good. And that is it for the main deck. In the future, I do think Saberdramon will be very good. It's also a vaccine that does help out the whole fact that you can search for it. It does have Raid and it has Retaliation, which is obviously here. This is very cool. So, as I was saying earlier, it's really awkward if you think someone will die, you got nothing to do. But on deletion, return 1 red or purple Digimon card from your trash to hand. Very good. Raid and Retaliation is also a very good pairing effect, because if you can't get rid of Sync on your opponent's side of the field, you can retaliate it and you can just rip it out and they can't do anything about it. As I've already said, the offensive training here is probably better than the red memory boost going forwards. Nothing can stop you from reducing a cost when Digivolving, as far as I'm aware. But then revealing top 2 cards of your deck, add 1 red card amongst them to your hand. Obviously, Omnimon gets ignored, but Omnimon is also a vaccine Digimon. So if we assume this is just add a vaccine rather than just a Avion, this has to be red, unfortunately. But yes, otherwise you have to hard draw this. But with the amount of draw you have in this deck, I think you'll be fine. You don't even necessarily need this to finish the games off. And then as like a side note, maybe you want to play this here for a bit more memory gain. This deck wants you to have lots of cards in your hand. And depending on what your opponent's playing, will also probably have lots of cards in the hand. Gaining 2 memory at the start of your main phase is always pretty good, especially going forwards. And then your turn, when one of your blue or red Digimon becomes unsuspended, you may suspend at this time to return one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon to the hand. Not always the most effective thing. It kind of annoys Impmons, and that's probably about it, really, can't think of, because you return searches to your opponent's hands. It's very annoying if they've already got a way of having free memory on their turn and then playing something and then going up that way. But that's about it, really. These 6 cards here, you might not want to play 4 of these, but I just think 4 was a very good number. Might be worth taking out and consuming here. Again, Crimson Flare here is literally just here for the effect of the Undeletion to trigger one of these things and go crazy. And having the minimum of, I want to say, 8 Tamers in this set, because you just want to have this deck running its Tamers and going crazy. It's pretty good. And again, you can probably go like 3-3 and then 2 of these, depending how you feel. Again, as I said, it's not really a good red Tamer that you want to play currently with Restoring its name, essentially. So eventually, when we do get to have the whole like Undeletion play a 4-cost red Tamer card, you're probably looking at this next Sora. Hopefully it's a memory setup with some decent effects for birdies. But no, that's it. That's my thoughts on this deck. Bird up to everyone, and peace out and goodbye. Have a great time, and I want this deck to do well, because I think the idea of it is really solid, and I do think, depending on what BT13 brings out, this could be one of those decks that's just really annoying to deal with, because when it gets exploded, it just goes, okay, flood the board. But that's me personally. Alright, peace out, guys. See you later. Have a great time, and we'll probably see you for some more reveals soon enough. Peace out and goodbye.